Good morning, everyone. See if I can find myself. Okay. There we go. There they are. Hi, Donna. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing, too. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. See if I can see who's here. Mary Ellen and Jan and Debbie, Karen, Rhonda, Benta, Margie, Paul, Kelly. Thank you guys all for joining me today. Let me swipe these. Actually, I'm going to leave them there for now. Hi, Marlene. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Stephanie. So we're going to make a fun, we've made this before, but not recently. You'll be able to tell by the DSP that I use. This is the butterfly. But we're going to make this little origami treat box. Now, you can make this box so it's lidded. And this one is a bigger version. So you can see this one used a 12 by 12 sheet. And this one, I think, used an 8 by 8 sheet. So just for size comparison, this one used a 6 by 6. So you can see the size difference. So again, 12 by 12, 8 by 8, 6 by 6. But they do still hold a lot, really, no matter what size you use. So you can see I have all my silicone or silica packs. I keep these in here because I use these for shakers. So, oh, there's some other treasures in here too. Look, some little mini post-it notes. The things you find when you get stuff out. So anyway, I keep all of those in here. And then this one, so this is an 8 by 8. So this fits a pack of Gushers. Oh, and some chocolate in there as well. So it does fit a lot of candy. So you can definitely, so this is pretty flat. In there you can see, you can definitely get some more stuff in there. And again, you can make a lid for this. This is another version. This and these both use the Twoll Tidings DSP. So I'll show you these a little bit more when we go down. But I thought we could do one with something different. So I've been trying to do not necessarily holiday DSP. That way maybe it'll help you think outside the box, that you don't necessarily have to do it for Christmas or Halloween or Valentine's Day or whatever the case may be. So thank you guys all for joining. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything today before we move on. So Mary Ellen from Montana, you're getting ready for cross-country races. Wow. Cold, high winds. Oh my goodness. Well, good luck to whoever is racing. That sounds like an epic adventure. All right, let's see how else we have. Stephanie. Hi, Lisa. Hopefully you're doing well. Thinking about you. Hi, Cindy. So glad you joined today. Thanks for joining Adrian and Linda and Lori. Oh, I have a lot of my friends on here that I haven't seen in a while. So thank you guys so much for joining. Side note. That's okay. I know you love me too, Lisa. I read it as live. So side note. At 10 o'clock today, I didn't participate this week because it was just too busy, but Team Stampin is doing a blog hop, Halloween blog hop. So if you're looking for Halloween cards or inspiration, head over to, I didn't do it, so I didn't participate, but Linda Stevens Cullen did. So you can find her at craftystampin.com. So they have a really great blog hop plan for Halloween. There are probably 12 to 15 hoppers, so they have a lot of stuff going on. So if you need ideas for Halloween, lots of stuff there. So you could go to craftystampin.com. I know she is definitely participating. Tammy White is as well. So you could go to stampwithtammy.com. Hi, Barb. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you stop in. So when we're finished with this video, head on over there. Tammy's live video, which she usually does to a company, actually won't go live until Monday because yesterday was her birthday, so she's celebrating her birthday weekend. So I just figured I'd give a little shout out to Team Stampin. Sorry I missed you, but I'm going to try to hop on again next month. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the craft table. We're going to make this. So the coolest part about this is, if you can see, this one doesn't have the flaps and this one does. There is no adhesive really necessarily required. It just depends on if you want your flaps down. So if you do want your flaps down, I personally would recommend using liquid glue or a stronger adhesive because it will hold them down longer. Some people have used just a mini glue dot to hook the very bottom, but I don't find, in my opinion, that it stays down as well. So I would use either tear and tape and put maybe a strip down the side, but you also don't have to do it at all. Now these I did curve around, but you could also just leave them straight so they just stick straight out. So there's lots of options. So you don't have to use any adhesive for this. The only requirements are you definitely need a bone folder and your paper has to be square, because if it's not square, it's not going to make a good box and it's going to make you very frustrated. So just make sure whatever you do, when you go through and measure your paper, and I'm going to cut mine down because mine is 12 by 12. So again, a 12 by 12 sheet will make a very large one. You can go down as small as a 6 by 6. Anything smaller than this, it would probably be too hard to kind of jam something in. You still could get some stuff in there, but to me, it would be very hard to work with. So I see, oh, Lisa. So Gail, thanks for sharing. Lisa must be getting ready to drop some new products, which is always fun. So if you don't know who Lisa is, I'm just going to give her a plug too while we're on here. Her and her husband, John, are Crafter Solutions, and they make all of these really cool products. So this is a Tipsy, which is a liquid glue holder, and they also make this tray so you can slide them in. And I apologize, I can't remember the names of all of the things they have. I also have and love the Boss, which holds your heat embossing gun. So basically the cool part is you can turn this on ahead of time and it'll just sit and heat, and then you can also use the handle to be able to do it. And a couple other projects. They have a stopper, which I think is right. Oh, I had it. Oh, here it is. This you can use to hold your masks down. That way you don't get your fingers inky, and hold them and then you can ink. They also have some inverted glue holders for liquid glue. This is for my Crystal Effects. So she has lots of super, super cool products. They are come in, I think, about 10 different colors, so you can pick what color you want. And as a matter of fact, even on this, you can even have your name added to it. So that's really, really cool as well. So have to stay tuned to Lisa. I haven't been catching very many lives at night because by the time I finish school, because I'm actually in the classroom with the kids, I'm so exhausted. I'm falling asleep at like 8:30, which is good. So at least they're getting their money's worth out of me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip the camera around, and I'm going to put you down to the table, and then I'm going to plug in. I love my Tipsy too. I think it is one of my absolute favorite products ever. You will not believe the amount of glue you get out of your bottle that you didn't realize. So I'm going to plug in my mic. Okay. So if for any reason you can't hear me, just let me know. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Hey, you know, that's sometimes what it takes is sharing. Thanks to Gail for mentioning you were sharing something new, because then that in turn reminded me to share. But I have lots of Lisa's products, and I'm sure some of you have received some of her imperfect giveaways. We've given them away too, so that's always really, really fun. As a matter of fact, make sure you leave a comment today. I do have several here that I can give away, so make sure you do leave a comment, and then I will, I don't know exactly when, but I will pull some names and send some out. It might just take me a little bit longer to send them. So this is the box. I'll show you the sizes. So this is made with 6 by 6, 8 by 8, 12 by 12, because that kind of gives you a little bit easier of a way to see. This one's 6 by 6 as well, to see exactly what size they really are. Let me move my iPad over. Hi Joyce, thank you so much for joining. Put all these things back up here. Okay, so today I actually got out, you see, I become obsessed with something and then that's all I can use. I got out some of the In Good Taste DSP, and I was going to go with one of the more funky patterns, but the funky patterns also have wood grain on the other side, which I really like, so I wanted to save those. But this one I thought actually could look kind of like a bag. So the inside of this is like a stone. So I'm going to cut this down to 8 by 8 instead of doing 6 or 12 by 12 because I don't want any other really big ones, but that's going to make one this size. So I'm just going to grab my cutter, and we do have a Stampin trimmer. I just personally haven't been using it that much lately, probably because I've been using the scoreboard. So I'm going to cut this down to 8 by 8. That way I'll have, if I wanted to add some cards to give someone, I'll have some pieces left for that. So the only requirements is this needs to be square. So just make sure that you're not doing something different. Like sometimes, you know, I'm doing 15 things at once. Make sure your paper is square. That is the most important rule. You also want to have a bone folder. That's also pretty important. And then aside from that, you really just need to be patient. So you have to decide which side you want out. Whichever side it is that you want out is going to face down. So if we wanted the stones facing out, it would face down. But I'm going to have the, it's kind of like, almost looks like a tweed, kind of. So it'll kind of almost look like a bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by folding this in half. It's very, very simple. And honestly, every time I start making these again, I do one thing backwards. So I wrote down just to make sure I wouldn't do that part backwards, because the first one, when I made this one, I actually made it backwards. So you did it in half, and I do recommend reinforcing with your bone folder. It just makes it a little easier. So we went in half this way, then we're going to go in half the other way. And again, you're just going to do your very best to make sure you line the points up so it is really square, because if not, that's where you get into trouble. And then you're going to do, and it doesn't matter which one, just corner to corner. So just pick one corner to corner. Just like so. Every time I say that, it slips. So I usually will just press with my fingers first. That way if I need to fix it, I can. But otherwise, that's it. So we did half, and then we did corner. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take those corners you just made, and we're going to press them in to make a square. Okay, so that looks complicated. It's not. So it was folded this way. So you're just taking these two to push them the opposite way in, and you're making a square. Okay, so make sure it all still lines up. Just reinforce your folds. Okay, just like so. All right, so pretty much this is it, and you're going to have it so the opening faces you. Now, a couple times you're going to see me turn it around this way, because some of the things when I score, I think it's easier for it to be opposite, but you can keep it this way and do it. This does work perfectly well. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to fold this over, and the only reason you're folding it over is because you want to create a score line here, which I know this is kind of hard to see on this darker paper, but you want to see a score line here so you can fold something into it. So just fold it over. This one doesn't need to be scored. And then you're going to fold this bottom part in. So this is where I'm going to turn it around because it's easier for me to do it this way for some reason. You're going to fold this in to this score line. So when you do this the first time, you could even do this as a practice with a piece of printer paper, a piece of loose leaf. The lighter weight paper is going to fold easier. So you can already see I have a little bit of an overlap here. It's not exactly precise. So this paper is a little bit thicker. That's okay. It's just going to, when you flip it, you're going to have this little burst in the seam here. Whereas some of these, you'll see they're lined up a little bit more precisely. So just kind of keep that in mind. Try your very best to get it to the line. So same thing, we're going to mirror that on this side. And then we're just folding this in. I got this idea some time ago from Dawn Griffith, shared a box that somebody had made. And I think, I don't know if it was Poodles or there's another crafter on the other side of the pond that does these as well. So this is what it looks like. Then all you're going to do, so remember all we did was fold these in. Then we're going to flip it over. So we have to fold this again just to make that crease mark so we can see where to score it. Okay, so all we're doing, we're just folding to create a crease. And we're going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to try to do it this way this time. So folding in to the crease. Speaking of the crease, is anybody watching Cobra Kai? I know I'm a little late to the party. And I'm going to fold this one in as well. So this is where I think, just being righty, I have to flip it upside down. So you just want it to be mirrored. Okay, so pretty much what I did again was we folded in and we folded into mirror. Okay, this one could go a little bit farther. Let's see if I can bring this in. Anyway, it's a super good show. We just watched season 2 finale, and oh my goodness, now I cannot wait for season 3. But I guess we're going to be waiting a while because of all the non-filming with COVID. So now you have something that kind of looks like either an ice cream cone or a kite. Okay, so you can see we still have our pointy part down here at the bottom. And we have these flaps that we made. They both look exactly the same. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to open this up, and we're kind of making this so this line here lines up with this. So for now, I'm just going to do this with my fingers because this is the part where I make mistakes. So I'm just going to take my time. So I'm just doing the same thing on both sides. So just remember, whatever you do to one side, you're doing to the other, because we're making this into a little pouch. And pretty much origami is all about really mirroring things. So we have those two there. Okay. So we're going to flip it over. So basically all we're doing is we're taking these flaps and we're opening them up. So we're going to put this in. And again, we're lining that crease line right up here. So anyway, with Cobra Kai, Kreese, if you haven't watched it, if you remember him, he was not the good sensei. He came back. Crazy. I'm not going to talk about it too much in case you're into it and you haven't watched that far yet, but all right, so that's what it looks like now. So both sides look exactly the same, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this open and we're going to fold this back, okay? So I am going to enforce this because I feel confident that I did the right step. So that's one. So we're just folding it over and folding this back. So it's again going to mirror, okay? So then it's going to, when you open it up, it's going to look like this, okay? So we are going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to flip it over. We're opening the side to fold this back. And remember, this is going to be on the replay, and I will also post this to YouTube. So fold that back. So if you watch this again, and you can see I have a little crease here that is got folded over. If you watch this again, or if you're like, it's too fast, just watch it again and pause it step by step. It's very simple if you do it that way. So we're just opening this flap and folding it back. And I promise you, if you make one of these once, you will realize how simple it is. Let's see if I can get this over a little bit better. Okay. So then again, we still have our little kite or ice cream. Okay. So now all we're going to do, so I have this open so it's back to its original shape. So pretty much when we did that, remember all we did is we opened this and folded it back. Same thing for this side. It was like that. We folded it over and folded this back. Okay. So we have these pieces. So all we're going to do now is we're going to fold this flap back. And you're kind of just going to fold it to that natural edge there. So you can see where the 2 points are right here. You're just going to fold down to that because you don't want to go any farther because that's going to rip your opening. So we're just folding this back, flipping it, folding this back. Okay. I'm just swapping sides, just opening it up, folding it back, and folding it back. And I promise, I'm sure there are some things that you're looking at and you're just thinking, this just seems insane, but it really does work. You just have to take your time. So then all you're going to do is open, and here's the opening of your bag. So the easiest thing to do when you do this is make sure you have one hand on the inside to kind of press your fold lines out. And you also want to be able to be out here to push this so it kind of goes flat. Because if you aren't careful, you definitely can rip it. But just show you what it looks like once you get it all done. So these points can stay facing out like that if you wanted to. So you could completely do that. And you can see there's a couple little spots, which actually I think I did pretty good considering, because doing this on camera for some reason is always nerve-wracking. And this one's got a little flip. And then What you're going to do, if you decided that you wanted them to be hooked down like this, what you're going to do, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you, is I usually do this with my bone folder first. So make sure you grab the end, that way you don't rip it. So you're just going to softly kind of curl the edge there. All right. And you could even do like 2 down and 2 up if you wanted to, but I'm going to do all 4. So I'm just gently curling this. And then I'm going to do one more thing. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. So I'm going to grab some tear and tape. The only thing I will definitely advise is make sure you try to get to the very, very tip. That way the bottom will actually stay. Oh Lord, there's a whole bunch of beads just fell out. It will actually stay on. I'll get those in the vacuum later. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. That was a calamity. So then I'm going to just take some tear and tape, and we're going to put a little bit, so I'll kind of say like maybe halfway. And let me grab my little mat. Yeah, believe it or not, I even got my chamois wet today, and look, we haven't used it yet. But what we'll do is we'll make a lid for this, and we can stamp something on the top. About halfway. We are getting a lot of rain today in Maryland. I don't know if any of you are having rain or not, but I think we're getting remnants of apparently some hurricane that's fizzled out, which is good because we could always use the rain. We did have some beautiful weather this summer, so I definitely won't complain. So one other thing I'm going to do, so as you see, if this hangs off a little bit at the end, like this one will, I'm just going to fold it back on itself, but I'm going to do one more thing. I am going to keep my liquid glue handy. So I'm going to peel the backing off of all of these. And come on. And I'm going to put just, this one's the one that had it hanging off. Nope, it was this one. I'm just going to put a teeny bit of liquid glue. That way, just in case I feel like I didn't line it up right, it'll give me that little bit of wiggle room. Okay. And there. All right, so then I'm just going to take this and press it. And if you do this just with liquid glue, you're definitely going to need to hold it longer. But with the tear and tape and the liquid glue, only for like maybe 5 seconds. I'm just pressing all the way in. So I'm pushing from the inside and the outside. Okay, so there you go. Now, one other thing to note, if you wanted to, this is up to you. I will show you to make a lid for this. The other thing you could do if you wanted to, if you have a, I know we don't have a ton of, I don't think we have any punches anymore now that I think about it, but if you have a crocodile, what you could do is you could make, so this is the 1-inch hole, you could make, I don't know if it's going to fit in it, yeah, well, this way. You could make a hole here, and you could actually make this, put ribbon and make it into a little purse. And I used to have one here that was an example, but I guess I must have finally given it to somebody. But basically you would be able to hold it like a little purse. So that's something else you could do, or just like a little bag so you could hand it to somebody with a little piece of ribbon. So that would be a cool idea for this as well. Now I'm going to try not to make this so it's really super dark. So instead of going with a dark color for the lid, I'm actually going to just use a piece of I want to use vanilla or white. I think I'm going to go with white. And just so it's a little bit sturdy, I am going to use a piece of thick whisper white. Let's see if I have any scraps in here. And I want something that's going to be 4 by 4. Let's see if this at least measures 4. Nope, not big enough. So I'm going to grab a piece of 4 by 4. That's definitely big enough. And what we'll do is I'm going to cut my white down, and then I'm also going to cut down a little piece of the DSP just to layer on top of it, and then we will stamp something on it as well. So I'm just going to cut this down to 4 by 4. I'm going to keep that for the other part. Okay, so this is going to be for our lid, and don't know if that's going to be a little too dark. It's okay. You know what? We're going to just go with it. I'm going to cut this at I'm going to go with 3.5. 3.5 by 3.5. And then this will be my piece for my whatever it is we're going to stamp. Okay, so we're going to score. Oop, so sorry about that. We're going to score our lid piece at 3/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. Okay, and looks like my little thing fell out again. So this is going to be the tick mark that is right before the 1/2 inch. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. Man, it is raining so heavy out there. I have to make sure I speak up. All right. Okay, and then this, hopefully, I'm thinking this should, I might have to cut this down a little bit more now that I think about it, but that one should be, it should layer on top of there. So let's make sure, let me make sure I did this correctly. So if I'm thinking 8x8 would be 4x4, 9x9 would be a 3x3 lid. Let me just make sure I did my measuring correctly. This could be the one part where I have goofed up today. Let's see. I feel like I might have had to score 1/2 inch instead. Let's see. Yep, most definitely not. So disregard that. 2 inches. So let me go back. Hold on for me for 1 second. I do apologize. This is the one part that I don't usually do the lids. So this is the part that I goobered last time. So let's try. So if we have 3/4. 3/4. We'll try this one instead. See if this works. Nah, it's still gonna be a little bit too big. So here's what we're gonna do. So if I had 4x4, might have needed to do 3.5 as my paper, and then a 1/3 of an inch, or a 3/8 of an inch in. So 3.25. Let's try this one now. 1/2. So I went with 3.25, and let me try 1/2 inch. And if not, we're gonna skip this part. And then I will give you an accurate lid measurement once I go back and I'm able to measure correctly. And did I do 3/4? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I actually made it square. Okay, go with my little snips. I think the other thing that is with us outside is with having the pool cover, it always makes it sound like it's in the rainforest, even though it's not really raining necessarily that hard. Let's see what we are here. Still going to be just a little tiny bit too big, because our lid, what we're trying to do, essentially, the point I'm getting at here is you want to have it so your little pieces will go in, and this is going to be just slightly. It might just fit. Let me just check before I go snipping and clipping and talking about why it's not working. Now this one I am going to do just for the sake of making it easier at this point. I'm going to do this with glue dots, but if you are going to adhere this firmly, glue dots are not going to hold the lid together. And the reason being is because the Rainbow Stamper has one that has a lid, and his lid parts, so these little pieces here, they're always popping out. So if you're going to do this to kind of get started with the lid, make sure that you go back and actually put some really good adhesive on it. Only because it's going to make it stick way better. Let's try this for now. And I still think this is going to be just a little bit, yeah, it's just a mite too snug. So I'm gonna discombobulate one last time. Let's see. So we started out with 4x4, and I ended up going down to 3.25, which still was just a little bit too large. So I think if we started with probably 3 by 3 and we had a 3/8 inch, which this one is now going to be entirely too small to be 3 by 3. Yeah, this will be, so this opening is about 2 inches, give or take. It's depending on how much it goes in. So what you want is 2 inches, and then you're going to have about a 3/8 inch border on each side. So probably if you went with maybe 2 1/2, and then you could have a 1/4 inch border, but I don't want to make you suffer through that. So what I'll have to do is I will go back and do a full clean video version of this with a real lid, so you can have that one to follow up on, but at least in the meantime you can work on doing your little box. So what we'll do is we will change modes for this one, just this one in particular, and what I'll do is I will show you how to do it with the crocodile, so you can open and you can make this into a little hanging bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this in, and I'm kind of just eyeballing. So when I'm lining this up here, I'm going with the center seam line right there, and I'm going probably, the nice thing about the crocodiles, you do have these little measurement tools, so if you want to, you know how far you want to go down, you can always move it to a certain spot. So it does have an inch. You could go down to a 1/2 inch and make sure when you put it in it's going to measure the same every time. So I'm going to push that to there, make sure this is on the seam. So there will be one, and then I'm just following the seam again for this one. And then it's still pushed down to a 1/2 inch. So both of your pieces will measure up if you adjust your little measurement device on there. So I have that. So then what you can do is you could pick pretty much any ribbon, because this one has a really neutral palette. So you could do something really simple. You could do the crinkled seam binding ribbon. Another one that I really love, which I used all of it, was the braided linen, which went along with, oh, this one was one of my faves, and I had a little piece here, but this one. So the Forever Greenery trim combo pack, I have used all of this vanilla because it's really, really forgiving. And the other nice part is that you can use your Stampin' Write markers or your Stampin' Blends to dye it, which I did for a card that we're going to be making in card class today. So this is a really great ribbon. This one would be nice as well, the Whisper White. So that's another one that's really, really pretty. So since I don't have any more of the vanilla, that's probably the route I would go, which is this one. So this does come with, this is the Forever Flowers. And this comes with 3 different ribbons in this combo pack. So what you would do is just kind of figure out how long you want it to be. So you would at least want something that's going to stick up, that if you're fitting candy in, you can fit a good size. So I'm just going to cut a little bit extra. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed one of the ends in. And I'm going to make a knot. And I'm going to pop this just a little, because I don't want it to be too of a knot inside, and I don't want too much hanging. So we're going to pull this through, and you do kind of want it to be so when you put this on that it looks smoothly. You don't really want it like twisted, so make sure you do pay attention to that part when you feed this one in. So same thing again, you'll just feed this in, pull it through, kind of make sure that it's lined up. So you can see this one is lined up pretty smoothly, and then you're going to make your knot. You can always go back on the inside and trim this out a little bit, but I try to move my knot portion down as close to the edge of the ribbon as I can. And then you'll just pull that up. And then, so I'm going to go and just snip off this little bit here. So we kind of just have the knot. So we just have the knot there. And I'm going to do the same for this side. Make sure I pull this. And as long as you have a fairly a wider ribbon, it's going to pull enough that you're not going to pull it through the hole. So there we go. So that's pretty neatened up. So then you'll have this little thing. So you could fill that with a treat. You can give this to a friend. You probably, as long as you didn't close this one specifically, the opening would accommodate. You wouldn't be able to stick it all the way in there, but you could fit a little, you could even fit a little gift card in there as well. And then maybe put some candy in. You could put some candy underneath before you started for the back part. Put in a little gift card, and then maybe put in some candy on top. So you can definitely fit a good amount of stuff. Again, this one is very large, so you can fit a lot of stuff in here. This one fits, you can see, I mean, even the stuff that's on the bottom, there's a lot of stuff in here. This one would definitely fit gift cards clearly without any problem whatsoever. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I do apologize that I wasn't able to do the lid part, but I promise I will do a clean video version of this. That way there won't be any talking in the background, and hopefully if any part of this is confusing, it will make much more sense for you when you watch it. But again, you can make this in absolutely any size. It does not make a difference whatsoever. I mean, you could do 12 by 12, even if you have bigger paper than that. The only thing you want to be sure, and this is super important, is that your paper is square when you start. If you don't have square paper, it's definitely not going to end up being nicely met up at the bottom. So this one was with the butterfly paper we had a couple celebrations ago. Also, whatever side you want facing out, like this is, you want to start with it facing down. So just a couple tips there to hopefully help you wrap that up. And again, I will get another video recorded, maybe able to do actually later today, prior to going to stamp class. So if I can, I will record another one with a lid, and then we can I'll post it to YouTube directly. So if you're not a follower there, make sure that you go over there and follow me so you can see that when it is updated and added. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you have some time, make sure you go over and check out the Team Stamp It blog hop. Lots of fun over there. They should have lots of great Halloween projects. You could even use your DSP from Halloween, the Magic in This Night, and you make these, especially because a couple of the prints are definitely, in my opinion, they're a little, they're darker than more of a Halloween, so you really could get away with those for a fall project as well. I thank you guys very much for joining. Make sure if you haven't already too that you check out Lisa and her page, which is Crafter Solutions. You can find her on Facebook or on not on YouTube, on Etsy, Facebook and Etsy, and apparently she's going to be launching new projects. So if you're not already a follower, make sure you follow her over there too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm not going to see you next Thursday because I have an appointment, and then next Saturday we're actually having a small party for the Rainbow Stamper for his birthday. So I may possibly go on Tuesday evening instead, but it'll kind of just be a last minute thing depending on what I have going on. So if not, I will see you the following Wednesday, which will be, I believe, the 6th. 1, 2, 3. I think it's the 6th. So Wednesday the 6th, I will be Wednesday the 6th? No. Yeah, actually Wednesday the 6th is because we don't have school that day. So I'll be live at my regular time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday morning. So that'll be fun as well. So thank you guys again for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.